Your company just announced the mandate. 5 days a week, back in the office. Your Slack is blowing up. Half your team is furious. But here's what nobody's talking about. This might be the best thing that ever happened to your career. I'm not saying RTO mandates are fair. They're not. I'm saying while everyone else is complaining, updating their LinkedIn, and rage applying to remote jobs, you could be making a very different move. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to turn this chaos into acceleration. Let's get into it. Here's a number that should stop you in your tracks. 77%. That's how much more likely your highest performing colleagues are to quit over RTO mandates compared to average workers. Not 7% more likely, 77. The people your company cannot afford to lose. They're the ones walking out the door. And while HR scrambles to figure out how to replace them, you're going to be sitting right there, ready to absorb their responsibilities, their relationships, and their trajectory. That's the cheat code, but you have to know how to play it. Let's rewind for a second. It's January 2025. 51% of workers, more than half, said they would quit outright if their company forced them back to the office full-time. That was the power employees held. Remote work wasn't a perk anymore, it was leverage. Companies were terrified of losing talent. Fast forward to today, the economy cooled, layoffs happened, and suddenly, that leverage evaporated. By January 2026, only 7% of workers said they'd quit over an RTO mandate. 7. Down from 51% in just 12 months. But here's what the headlines miss. Those numbers hide something important. The people who are still willing to leave. They're not your average performers. Research shows the probability of highly skilled employees departing after RTO mandates is 77% higher than less skilled workers. Let that sink in. And senior employees? 36% more likely to leave than junior workers. The exact people with the relationships, the institutional knowledge, the political capital, they're the ones heading for the exit. This isn't speculation. This is happening right now in real companies, creating real vacuums of power and responsibility. 80% of companies have already reported losing talent because of their RTO mandates. 80%. And they're not losing the deadweight. Think about your own team for a second. Who's been the most vocal about staying remote? Probably not the people skating by. It's your top performers. The ones with options. They have leverage because they're valuable. And when a company tells them to sacrifice their flexibility, they leverage right out the door. Nearly half of all companies will demand employees be in the office at least 4 days a week this year. 28% are phasing out remote work entirely. The mandates are accelerating. Microsoft just announced 3 days minimum for anyone within 50 miles. Amazon, JP Morgan, Goldman. They've all doubled down. And here's what's fascinating. The companies doing this aren't seeing productivity gains. The research shows no clear benefit to forcing everyone back. 64% of U.S. employees would prefer remote or hybrid roles over working from the office every day. The preference hasn't changed, just the leverage. So why are companies pushing this hard? Some argue it's about collaboration, FaceTime, mentorship. But let's be real about something. Experts warn this clash could lead to employee burnout, disengagement, and brain drain if top performers leave and middle performers feel stuck. Some analysts call RTO mandates quiet layoffs, a way to reduce headcount without paying severance. Make the job uncomfortable enough and people self-select out. 60% of remote and hybrid workers would take a pay cut to continue working from home. That's how much flexibility matters to people. But here's what separates you from everyone else updating their resume right now. You're not going to react emotionally. You're going to react strategically. And there's a term you need to know. Fortune magazine calls it hybrid creep. Instead of blunt mandates, some companies are nudging remote workers back 1 extra day at a time. First it was come in for team meetings, then Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now it's Monday through Thursday mandatory. The creep is intentional. And every time the policy tightens, another wave of your most talented colleagues starts job hunting. This is the pattern. This is your opportunity. So let's talk strategy. First thing, start documenting who's leaving. I mean literally tracking it. Names, roles, responsibilities, key relationships they managed. When a senior colleague announces they're leaving, most people say good luck and move on. You're going to ask yourself a different question. The question is, which of their responsibilities can I absorb? Not all of them. But the strategic ones, the client relationships, the cross-functional projects, the executive visibility. Before their last day, you consider having a casual conversation. Hey, I'd love to understand more about the Johnson account before you go. Mind walking me through the key stakeholders? You're not being opportunistic, you're being helpful. The company needs someone to catch what's falling. Why shouldn't it be you? Here's another angle. If you're going to comply with RTO, and sometimes strategic compliance makes sense, be deliberate about which days you're visible. Figure out when the decision makers are in the office. If your VP comes in on Tuesdays and Thursdays, those are your days. Strategic visibility beats random attendance every time. It might also help to get explicit written expectations from your manager. How many days exactly? Which days? And here's the key question: how does attendance link to your performance review? If they can't answer that clearly, you just learned something important. The policy might be more negotiable than they're letting on. Now let's talk about the other path. Maybe you're looking at this mandate and thinking, I'm out. I'm one of those high performers with options. That's valid. But if you're going to negotiate for remote work, either at your current company or a new one, you need ammunition. And that ammunition is documented results. Start tracking everything obsessively. Revenue influenced. Projects completed. Problems solved. Clients retained. You want specific numbers you can point to in any conversation. When you negotiate for flexibility, you might frame it around those business outcomes. In the last 6 months, working hybrid, I closed 12 deals worth $1.2 million. Let's talk about how we maintain that. That's a different conversation than I prefer working from home. One is a preference. The other is leverage backed by receipts. Here's something else to consider. The talent exodus isn't happening evenly across industries. Tech, finance, consulting. They're seeing the biggest departures. If you're in one of those industries, the vacuum is even bigger. Senior architects, product leads, managing directors, these aren't easily replaced positions. So when that VP of engineering leaves because she's not willing to commute 90 minutes each way, someone needs to step up. It might be worth positioning yourself for that moment. And let's address the elephant in the room. Some of you are thinking, isn't this kind of cynical? Taking advantage of other people's bad situation? Here's how I think about it. The situation exists whether you act or not. Your talented colleagues are leaving because of company policy, not because of anything you did. The only question is, do the responsibilities get absorbed by someone strategic, or do they fall through the cracks while the company scrambles? You stepping up isn't cynical. It's filling a gap that needs filling, and positioning yourself to be recognized for filling it. Remember, promotions don't happen because you worked hard. They happen because someone with authority noticed you doing visible, valuable work at the right moment. RTO mandates are creating a lot of those right moments. People are leaving. Responsibilities are shifting. Leadership is watching to see who steps up. One more thing to consider. If your company is pushing RTO hard and you're complying, make sure you're getting something in return. Commuting costs money, time, energy. If they're asking more from you, it may be worth discussing what they're offering more. Salary adjustment? Better title? Clearer path to promotion. Compliance without negotiation is just acceptance. Strategic compliance means trading your flexibility for something concrete. And if you're a manager, this applies double. You're about to have hiring power you haven't had in years. Top performers leaving other companies? They're now available. The same senior talent that was impossible to poach 2 years ago might be very open to conversations now, especially if you're offering flexibility they can't get elsewhere. Let's zoom out for a second. We're living through one of the biggest workforce reshuffles in decades. The pandemic changed everything about how we work. And now companies are trying to put that genie back in the bottle. Some will succeed. Some will destroy their talent pipelines trying. Your job isn't to predict which way it goes. Your job is to be positioned to benefit either way. That's what strategic career thinking looks like. If RTO sticks and you comply strategically, you're absorbing senior responsibilities and getting promoted faster. If RTO backfires and companies reverse, you've built relationships and visibility that matter regardless. The people who lose are the ones who complain without acting or comply without negotiating. The ones who react emotionally instead of strategically. So here's what I want you to do this week. If you found this useful, consider subscribing. We put out episodes like this regularly. But more importantly, do something concrete. Make a list of the 3 most senior people on your team who've expressed frustration about RTO. Think about their responsibilities. Ask yourself, which of these could I realistically absorb? Then schedule a casual coffee with one of them before they leave. Learn what they know. Build that relationship. Position yourself as the natural successor to at least part of their portfolio. That's the move. While everyone else is updating their LinkedIn headline to open to remote opportunities, you're quietly absorbing the responsibilities of people who already left. 12 months from now, you'll be in a completely different position. More responsibility, more visibility, more leverage. Whether you want to negotiate for a remote work or push for that promotion, that's the 77% rule. The best people are leaving. The question is, are you going to complain about the mandate or capitalize on the vacuum it creates? Your most talented colleagues are walking out the door. Make sure you're ready to walk into everything they're leaving behind. That's your cheat code for the week. I'll see you in the next one.